Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another basketball reaction, and this one is the 2020 NBA Playoff Predictions Western Conference First Round. This was suggested through my Discord, the most active user. It may not be the most sort of like, it may be the most like random sort of YouTube account or YouTuber, but yo, if you are like new to this person, give him a subscription, give him a like give him a view. I would appreciate that a lot. Quickly, I've did my own predictions. I've probably posted it before this, as to why maybe this hasn't affected my opinions. This is how it ended out. You can watch the whole video in the link in the description for those who are interested in that. It was pretty fun. It was my first ever sort of prediction style video, but I think it went decent. I don't know, there's probably a few dodgy picks here and there, but that's the beauty of sport, man. You pick who you think is going to win certain things, etc. But yeah, let's give this one a watch. And yeah, this is just focused on the Western Conference, so we'll see like his thoughts on who will go through there. Maybe he'll do an Eastern Conference one as well. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see people's opinions on like what's going to happen, etc. Let's give this a watch, and yeah, let's just check this out.
Okay, so we can officially start the playoffs now. The Western Conference has been set as well. Recently, I made a video about the Eastern Conference, so if you haven't checked it yet, go and see that one. The little pop thingy should be appearing right now on your right corner. But
Oh,
today,
so you've done this,
we're
okay.
going to concentrate on the West. As always, like, share, subscribe. Hello everyone, this is Purple Prince, and let's take a look at the 2020 NBA Playoffs Western Conference bracket and see how well we can predict the first round. First, we have the first-seeded Los Angeles Lakers facing off against the Portland Trail Blazers. While the Los Angeles Lakers guaranteed their #1 seed early in the bubble, the Trailblazers had to battle in Western Conference play-ins to even earn a chance to participate in the playoffs. They just beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and since they already were the #8 seed, they needed just one win to be in the playoffs. In the series, everyone kinda knows who should win. One team has been a championship contender from the get-go, while the other one barely squeezed in. Nevertheless, the series should be interesting. The Los Angeles Lakers and Portland Trailblazers have met 3 times during the regular season. 2 pretty easy wins for LA, and 1 heartbreaking loss on a night that was meant for Kobe. Rest in peace, Mamba. The wildcard here is Damian Lillard. How much better can he be? You also have some cool storylines like Carmelo's redemption story, going against LeBron, etc. But let's look at the team stats first. Offensively, Lakers carry the league's 11th best offense by scoring 113.4 points per game. They are quite good at converting on their chances, first in the league to be exact,
I
scoring
didn't even know that.
48% of their field goal attempts. The Lakers aren't that great at shooting from distance, just 21st in the league, and they're pretty atrocious from the free throw line, converting just 72.9% of their free throws, tied for 2nd worst in the league. 45.7 boards a game gives them the 9th best result in that category, and thanks to LeBron James being the league's assist leader, the Lakers as a team are a top.
Bro, that's crazy, man. LeBron's the assist leader, and he's just so good at everything. I know, like, that's just the obvious sort of opinion now, but he is ridiculous.
Passing team. As for Portland, they score 115 points per game, good for #6 out of 30 teams. They're 14th in the league in field goal percentage, but when it comes to shooting threes, they convert 37.7% of those, good for 3rd in the league. They're also a much better free throw shooting team, 3rd in the league, converting more than 80% of their free throws. They do, however, rebound the ball at a lesser rate, and they're the absolute worst team in the league when it comes to passing the ball.
Oh, wow.
20.6 assists per game.
Oh my days.
The big difference between these two teams lies on defense. Portland just doesn't defend at all. Well, in the bubble, the Lakers have had some bad games on defense, but Portland has been doing that all year round. Even with those bad defensive games in the bubble, the Lakers are still 4th in the league, allowing their opponents to score just 107.6 points per game. Portland, meanwhile, is 26th. Their opponents score 116.1 points per game.
Jeez.
Allowed field goal percentage, kinda close. The Lakers are 8th, while the Trailblazers rank #11. The Lakers are the 7th best team guarding the 3-point line. They hold their opponents to shooting just 34.9% from the distance. Blazers, 29th in the league. Opponents make 38.3% of their threes playing against the Blazers. So, what could be the
what that shot was.
I watched quite a few Portland and Lakers games.
I feel like he's siding with the Lakers for sure.
While I
100%.
can see Nurkic and Whiteside combo containing Anthony Davis to a degree, what in the hell are they gonna throw against LeBron James? They have absolutely nobody who can guard LeBron. Nobody. Defense, I just mentioned. The Lakers can defend. They'll miss Avery Bradley, but what will show up later in the playoffs? Portland just doesn't defend really. With all due respect to Damian Lillard, I don't think he can score 50 plus, 60 plus, 4 games in a 7-game series.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And just take and win those games by himself. Yes, McCollum can't show up. Carmelo just hit a big 3 against Memphis, but the Lakers will figure it out. Either double team Lillard and make another player beat them, find out just something to limit him, or throw him out of his rhythm. And if I don't believe that Lillard can beat a team 4 times, I sure as hell don't believe anyone else on the Blazers can do that as well. I like fireworks, so I'll give Portland 1 game. My predictions: the Lakers wins this in 5 games. As cool of a story as Portland has been in the bubble, the mentality of us against the world, the Lakers are just better.
That's a fair prediction. I see that. I did actually predict Lakers. I think I was in 7 games, 6 or 7 games. So we were right with the prediction, or I say we're right. We might be wrong still, but I do see what he's saying there. I do, from what I've seen of Portland, that they offensively they seem nuts. Like, they seem absurd, but defensively they have conceded a lot of points from what I've seen as well. Like, their games just involve a lot of scoring and they're fun to watch. But maybe in the playoffs that'll come to haunt them, man.
We have the 2nd-seeded Los Angeles Clippers facing off against the 7th-seeded Dallas Mavericks. Now, usually when you have the 2nd-best team meeting with the 7th-best team, it must be an easy series. But here, it shouldn't be like that. Both teams have 2 superstars. The Clippers have their perimeter duo of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, while Dallas has their 2 young up-and-coming superstars in Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. While Dallas has looked good in the bubble, they have notably struggled with the Clippers. The teams met 3 times during the regular season, 1 of which happened in the bubble, and all 3 games were won by the Clippers. Clippers are also a deeper team, there's no doubt about that, so how could Dallas realistically do something in this series? Use your bigs more. With all the talent the Clippers have, they don't have a lot of quality bigs, and with that I mean solid 7-foot-plus men to rebound and guard the paint. Dallas does, and they should use them. Okay, but let's go to some stats. The Clippers have the 4th best offense in the league from the regular season, averaging 116.3 points per game. They are 12th in making their field goals and top 6 in making their 3-pointers. Sending them to the line won't work that well either, since the Clippers are 9th in converting their free throws. And good luck out rebounding them. They are 3rd in the league in that category as well. The only thing they don't do as much is passing. They are 22nd in the league in assists per game. Dallas, on the other hand, has the 3rd best offense in the league, scoring 107.
Got really good offensive, isn't they?
They are slightly worse in converting their field goals, 16th in the league, and also a bit worse in making 3-pointers, 10th in the league. They're 14th in converting free throws and the 4th best rebounding team during the regular season. They're also 14th in assists per game with 24.7. Defensively, you would think the Clippers hold a big advantage. Okay, let's look at that.
That's what I said in my video.
In opponents' points per game, Dallas is 16th. In allowed field goal percentage, the Clippers are 3rd, while Dallas is 13th. 3-point defense, Clippers 5th, Dallas 10th.
Okay.
So yeah, the Clippers are a better team in almost every category, but it's not that off the line, to be honest. You could take a look at the 3 games they played with each other and figure out that this even might be a sweep. But just take into account that Porzingis has caught some fire, Luka is on fire, and they could get some games for Dallas. Now, in the long run, I don't think Dallas has the necessary perimeter defense or the perimeter offensive players to really beat the Clippers. They should try to pound the ball inside, get some Clippers into foul trouble. Could that happen? Surely, for a couple of games. I do think though that this will be a lot more competitive than people think. So my prediction for the series, 4-2 Clippers win.
I think that's what I went for as well.
The games are close, but it's not enough to beat the experience of Kawhi in the playoffs. Okay, next we have an interesting one. The 3rd-seeded Denver Nuggets facing off against the 6th-seeded Utah Jazz.
I went for the Nuggets, didn't I?
Utah lost Bojan Bogdanovic for the season, and that's a very big loss. They have Donovan Mitchell, and they do get some additional scoring from Jordan Clarkson, and Mike Conley has played better lately, sure. Denver, on the other hand, just saw what Michael Porter Jr. can do. They still have Jokic, they still have Jamal Murray, they still can rely on Paul Millsap to get some. They have more options to go to for that bucket. Additionally, I would call Mike Malone a better coach, but we'll leave that debate for another day. So how have they done against each other previously? The teams met 3 times during the regular season, once in the bubble, and all 3 games were won by the Nuggets. All the games were close, but the games were still won by Denver, and that's what I expect here. Stat-wise, both teams are very similar offensively. They are both scoring 111.3 points per game and are tied for the 18th place in the league in that category. Denver is really productive in making their field goals.
The thing is, it's a close one, but with Bogdanovic out, it makes it a bit tougher for the Jazz. But if he was in, it would be a fucking insane, insanely tight
They aren't
series.
necessarily that great in making their threes, just 15th in the league, and they're also just around the middle of the pack in rebounds and free throw percentage. Actually, the bottom half of the league in both categories. They do pass the ball though, 4th in assists per game. Utah, on the other hand, is just a bit worse in field goal percentage, 6th in the league, but they are way better making their threes, ranking 1st in the league in 3-point percentage. Free throws and rebounds, they're top 15, but assists, bottom 5 ranking the league. Defensively, very similar as well. Utah is 9th in opponents' points per game, while Denver is 11th. In opponents' field goal percentage, Utah is 12th, while Denver is 15th. And 3-point defense, Utah ranks number 14, while Denver is 17th. As you can see, very close teams defensively. So, who
It's
wins
just an
then?
even matchup.
This is such a hard series to predict for me personally, not because I love one or another, but they're just so similar. Their big men are a huge part of their game, they have some stars in their guards, they have some high volume scoring off the bench. Damn. And Utah now has an experienced floor general. You know what? I think this one has the potential to go 7.
I think I'm
I'll
up for
still say
6.
Denver wins it in 7,
No,
just
I went
because
for
I think they
Denver
have
in
an
6.
overall better roster, and for the last few games they have developed or at least checked out some deeper rotation players who could possibly help them down the road. And Utah will miss Bogdanovic. They will. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Denver wins it, but it could be 7.
So I've got the same
And
wins
this one
so
I
far.
personally just love. The 4th-seeded Houston Rockets facing off against the 5th-seeded Oklahoma City.
I went for the Rockets. This might be a controversial one. I went for the Rockets in 7, just because I feel like when Westbrook returns, they'll be a lot stronger. But without Westbrook, I don't know. I feel like that could be a mistake for me, man. Like OKC could win with ease without Westbrook being in. This is a tough one. I did go for the Rockets in 7 though.
So much to look for in this series. Houston traded away so much to get off of Chris Paul's contract and to get Russell Westbrook. Add to the fact that OKC traded away Paul George for picks and some players, and what you had was a team that looked like in prime position for a rebuilding year. Instead, Chris Paul was never traded anywhere, he stayed there, he was back to being an all-star again, and OKC is here in the playoffs. For Houston, they thought they got a better teammate, a friend for James Harden, and mid-season they decided to go complete small ball by trading away Clint Capella. And now they have the exact same record and they meet each other in the first round series. Wow, what an unexpected turn of events here. Anyway, both teams met 3 times during the regular season and Oklahoma City won 2 of those meetings.
Oh wow.
Guess who mostly dominated in those games from Houston's
Chris
side?
Paul? Oh.
Russell Westbrook.
I thought he was going to say from Oklahoma.
And guess who won't be there for at least the first 3
Westbrook.
games, if not more, for Houston?
That's a good point.
Russell Westbrook. That's right. Because of an injury, Russell Westbrook is expected to miss at least a couple of games in the series. And who knows how healthy he will be if he even returns. That's a big damper on the series. That's a lot of James Harden ISOs, but on the contrary, that's a very big chance for Oklahoma City. Let's see some stats. With 2 of the best offensive weapons in the league, it's only logical that Houston is the 2nd best offense of the regular season, scoring 117.8 points per game. They are very distance shooting dependent, so their field goal percentage is quite low, ranking just 22nd in the league. And since they shoot a lot of 3-pointers, their 3-point percentage is also quite low, just 24th in the league.
They score so
Just
many
for
though.
fun comparison, Indiana Pacers shoot the lowest amount of 3s per game, 28. And Houston obviously shoots the most as they attempt 45.3 3-pointers
That
per
is
game,
absurd.
which is more than a half of their shots. They hit their free throws at a good rate and they don't lose that rebounding battle as much as expected. They're ranked 18th in the league, but good luck catching a pass.
But isn't Westbrook the highest in rebounds and he's out?
Houston. They are 29th in assists per game.
Oh wow.
Oklahoma plays a very different style of basketball. Their offense is ranked 21st in the league, scoring 110.4 points per game. They shoot higher percentage shots and are ranked 8th in field goal percentage.
Oh,
They
wow.
shoot way less three-pointers, 30.2 to be exact per game, and converted at a higher rate of 35.5%, which ranks 17th in the league. They actually are a worse rebounding team, ranking just 23rd in rebounds per game, and even with Chris Paul on the squad, they rank just before the Rockets in assists per game. They're
Oh, man.
28th. Defensively, oh boy, OKC is way more willing to defend.
Okay.
They allow their opponents to score 108.4 points per game, which ranks them 6th in that category. Houston allows opponents to score 114.8 points, the 23rd best result. Both teams are similar in opponents' field goal percentage, but OKC is still better. They're 10th, while Houston is 14th. And both teams are good at guarding their own three-point line. OKC is 3rd, and Houston is 8th. So what can we digest from all of this? I know one thing for sure. This series will be great.
Very
First
good.
of all, there will be some dirty games in the series, trust me. The animosity between Chris Paul and James Harden will be there. Either one of them will try to prove who was right when the team...
So I'm guessing there's like a sort of beef between Chris Paul and Harden. And what's that? Is that from like history that they've played together, or like what is the reason behind that? Maybe there's a beef history by SB Nation that focuses on that. Because if there is, I'll probably look at that in future because I'd be interested in seeing that.
fell for 2 seasons in a row in the playoffs. Paul will try to show how to play the proper way, while James will do like 20 step backs from the 3. This will be great. The big domino here though is Westbrook. With him missing at least 2
That's
games, and I
true,
think it will
man.
be more, I can totally see OKC winning here. And that is my prediction.
Damn.
OKC will win the series in 6 games. They are very similar teams when Westbrook plays, but without him, OKC has the advantage. Another thing is pace. With Westbrook, somebody is constantly driving to the basket. Without him, James Harden will probably dribble the clock down a lot of the time, and that just plays in OKC's hands. So my prediction, 4-2, OKC takes it. It would be such a great story. So these are my predictions.
That
for
would be
the
funny
West.
with like obviously Westbrook leaving to try and like get a championship, I guess you'd say, and then he loses to the team that he was at previously.
Conference, guys. Which team do you think will surprise us in the playoffs? Are there any other upsets on the horizon? Let me hear your picks for the West. Please leave a comment down below with your thoughts. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Enjoy
And
this though.
comment. I love to interact with you guys. Thanks. This
I appreciate the suggestion. He's a smaller channel, but give him some love, man. This was a good video. It was a good in-depth video of the stats that he said. With his predictions, with the Rockets versus the Thunder, I was saying that I think it's going to be a close game, and I was talking about Westbrook's injury, and it all depends on how long he's out for. But I don't know if I made a mistake there with going with the Rockets, but I went 4-3 from what I remember. But again, I won't be surprised with that if they don't win, basically. But yeah, interesting video. I did enjoy this. The overhead Lakers team with awful depth, bad shooting, no guards, with only 2 reliable shooters will beat Lillard and 5, of course. Maybe me going with the Lakers winning might be a very like people get pissed with that. But you know what? I've done my predictions, and yeah, man, I'm just intrigued to see how the playoffs pan out. 4-1 Lakers, 4-1 Clippers, 4-2 Nuggets, 4-3 Thunder. Nuggets could shock the world. I was considering Nuggets as well, man. OKC gonna win. Don't sleep on the Thunder. Yeah, people talking about who's gonna guard David, who's gonna guard LeBron. Even Collins is hurt somewhat. I think Lakers sit in 6 or 5. It's exciting, man. These matchups are really intriguing, and I'm just excited to see how it pans out, man. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.